The story starts in a near-future America. 19 states have seceded from the Union, plunging the country into chaos. The government is divided, and civil war is breaking out. The story follows Jane, a seasoned war photographer played by Kirsten Dunst. She's seen conflicts around the world, but nothing like this. Jane's mission is to document the human cost of this new civil war. Jane is in Washington, D.C., the heart of the conflict. The streets are filled with protests, military patrols, and chaos. Jane captures the tension and fear on people's faces through her camera lens. She's determined to show the world the truth of what's happening, no matter the danger. Nick Offerman plays the president, a controversial figure who seems more interested in stoking the flames of division than quelling the unrest. His speeches are filled with inflammatory rhetoric, and he blames the seceding states for all the country's problems. Jane watches one of his speeches on a large screen in the city center, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. She knows his words are only making things worse. Jane receives her first assignment, to cover a major protest in New York City. She travels there with her team of journalists, including her close friend and fellow photographer, Mark, played by Jesse Plemons. The city is a war zone, with barricades, armed guards, and constant skirmishes between protesters and the military. Jane and Mark move cautiously, capturing the raw emotion and violence. During the protest, things escalate quickly. The peaceful demonstration turns violent as police clash with protesters. Jane and Mark are in the thick of it, dodging tear gas canisters and rubber bullets. Jane gets a powerful shot of a young girl helping an injured protester. This image becomes a symbol of the resistance. Back at their makeshift headquarters, Jane reviews the day's photos. The weight of the conflict and the personal toll it takes on her becomes evident. She calls her family, trying to reassure them that she's safe, but her voice betrays her anxiety. The separation from her loved ones adds to her stress, but she remains committed to her mission. The team receives a tip about a potential attack on a government building. Jane and Mark decide to investigate, knowing the risks involved. They sneak into the area, blending in with the crowd. The tension is palpable, and Jane's instincts are on high alert. Suddenly, explosions rock the building, and chaos ensues. Jane captures the horror as people scramble for safety. In the aftermath of the attack, Jane and Mark meet a local journalist, Anna, played by Kelly Spaney. Anna has insider information and offers to help them navigate the dangerous streets. She leads them to a safe house where they can regroup and plan their next move. Jane is wary but decides to trust Anna, hoping her knowledge will be valuable. At the safe house, Jane, Mark, and Anna review their findings. They discover that the attack was part of a larger plan to destabilize the government. Jane realizes the gravity of their mission. They're not just documenting history, they're part of it. The trio forms a bond, united by their shared goal of revealing the truth. Anna reveals that she has a contact within the secessionist movement who can provide them with critical information. Jane is skeptical but agrees to meet with the contact. They set up a covert meeting in a rundown part of the city. The contact, a former government insider, shares shocking details about the president's plans to escalate the conflict further. Jane knows she must get this information out to the public. With the new information in hand, Jane and her team race against time to publish their findings. They face numerous obstacles, including government censorship and constant threats to their safety. Despite the danger, Jane's determination never wavers. She understands the importance of their work and the impact it can have on the nation's future. Jane, Mark, and Anna work tirelessly to verify the information they've gathered. They know that releasing the story will put them in great danger, but they also know it's crucial for the public to be informed. The stakes are higher than ever. They plan their next steps carefully, coordinating with their editor to ensure the story gets published without government interference. As soon as the story is released, it sends shockwaves through the country. The government responds quickly and harshly. Jane, Mark, and Anna find themselves targeted by government agents. They have to leave their safe house and go into hiding. The tension is palpable as they navigate through a city under lockdown, always looking over their shoulders. The trio reaches out to underground networks sympathetic to their cause. They find temporary refuge in a hidden bunker provided by resistance members. Here, they meet other journalists and activists who have been working to undermine the government's narrative. Jane feels a renewed sense of purpose as she realizes the scope of the movement she's become part of. While in hiding, Jane interviews families affected by the war. She meets a mother who lost her son to the violence and a young boy whose father was taken by government forces. These stories are heartbreaking but also serve to strengthen Jane's resolve. She documents these personal tragedies, knowing that sharing these stories is vital to understanding the full impact of the Civil War. Jane, Mark, and Anna are given a dangerous mission: to infiltrate a government facility where crucial documents are being kept. These documents could provide undeniable proof of the president's manipulations. The mission is risky, but the potential payoff is huge. They prepare meticulously, gathering the necessary equipment and disguises. Under the cover of night, Jane, Mark, and Anna make their way to the facility. The tension is high as they navigate security checkpoints and avoid detection. Inside, they split up to search for the documents. Jane's heart pounds as she searches through files and digital records. She finally finds what they're looking for: detailed plans and communications proving the president's role in escalating the war. With the documents in hand, the team makes a daring escape from the facility. They're almost caught several times but manage to evade capture through quick thinking and sheer luck. The adrenaline is pumping as they return to their hideout, knowing they have explosive evidence that could change the course of the war. Back at their hideout, Jane, Mark, and Anna work quickly to disseminate the documents. They upload the files to secure servers and share them with trusted media outlets around the world. The response is immediate and overwhelming. The public is outraged by the revelations, and pressure mounts on the government to address the accusations. As the truth spreads, the president's support erodes rapidly. Protests grow larger and more widespread, and even some of his staunchest allies begin to distance themselves. The international community condemns his actions, and there are calls for his resignation. Jane feels a sense of vindication but knows the fight is far from over. Despite the ongoing conflict, there's a glimmer of hope. Negotiations begin between the government and the seceded states, spurred by the public outcry and the damning evidence Jane and her team uncovered. Jane continues to document these historic moments, capturing the tentative steps toward peace and reconciliation. Just when it seems peace might be within reach, a new threat emerges. A rogue military faction, unhappy with the negotiations and the weakening of the president's power, begins staging violent attacks to disrupt the peace process. Jane, Mark, and Anna realize their work is far from over. They must now expose this faction's agenda and prevent them from derailing the fragile steps toward unity. Jane and her team go undercover to investigate the rogue faction. They gather intel from disgruntled soldiers and disillusioned government officials. Each piece of information is like a puzzle piece, slowly revealing the bigger picture. Jane's relentless pursuit of truth puts her and her team in constant danger, but they remain undeterred. The rogue faction launches a major offensive, targeting key cities and infrastructure. The violence threatens to plunge the country back into full-scale war. Jane and her team are in the heart of the conflict, documenting the devastation and the bravery of ordinary citizens fighting for peace. Their work helps to galvanize public opinion against the rogue faction, but the battle is fierce. In a decisive confrontation, government forces and the rogue faction clash in a major city. Jane captures the chaos and the heroism of those defending their homes. The tide begins to turn as more soldiers defect from the rogue faction, unwilling to continue the senseless violence. Jane's images of these defections play a crucial role in swaying public sentiment. The aftermath of the battle is devastating. Jane walks through the ruins, photographing the destruction and the grief of those who have lost everything. She interviews survivors, capturing their stories of loss and resilience. These powerful images and stories highlight the immense human cost of the conflict and the urgent need for lasting peace. With the rogue faction weakened, negotiations resume with renewed urgency. International mediators join the talks, and there's a growing sense of hope. Jane continues to document these historic moments, capturing the cautious optimism of the negotiators and the public. Her work shines a light on the potential for reconciliation and unity. A landmark agreement is reached, laying the groundwork for a unified government and a path to recovery. Jane is there to document the signing ceremony, a momentous occasion filled with emotion and hope. The images she captures reflect the collective sigh of relief from a nation weary of war. The focus shifts to rebuilding the nation. Jane documents the efforts to restore infrastructure, provide aid to displaced families, and heal the deep wounds left by the conflict. She highlights the stories of people coming together to rebuild their communities, finding strength in unity and solidarity. As the country begins to heal, Jane reflects on her journey. She revisits some of the places and people she encountered during the war, capturing their stories of recovery and resilience. Her photographs tell a powerful story of a nation that has endured great pain but is now on the path to healing. The film concludes with a sense of cautious optimism. The country is still scarred, but there's a renewed sense of hope and determination to move forward. Jane's final images capture the beauty of a nation rebuilding itself, one step at a time. Her journey has been long and arduous, but she's helped to shine a light on the truth and played a part in the nation's healing process. Thank you for joining us on this journey through entire story. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting stories. Turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this.